Shalom. Want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. And peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. Now I want to share today an article with the brothers and bring out a few scriptures behind it just to go into the wickedness of the so-called white man, which we know are the Edomites, being their biblical nationality, the descendants of Esau. So I just want to go into this article just to show the atrocities that this man commits. Now, the title of the article is Alarming. For the first time ever, bees added to the endangered species list. And I came across this article because I remember me and one of the brothers were talking, and I remember like a couple years ago, I remember being on my patio and the bee nests and the bees used to kind of bother me when I used to sit out on my patio. But last summer I didn't see any, and this summer that just passed I didn't see any out on my patio. So I remember us talking about how we didn't see bees because they used to be around about out in the front yard a lot. But this article is going into how the bees have been added to the endangered species list. So I'm going to bring out a little bit of the article. If the bees disappear from the surface of the earth, man will have no more than 4 years to live, Albert Einstein. Now, this is something that Albert Einstein allegedly said, which is pretty much could be true because bees help pollinate flowers and different plant life, so we need the bees to keep the plant life going. On September 22nd, we reported that the rusty patch bumblebee was proposed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to be listed as an endangered species. This is a wake-up call to the problem of habitat destruction and pesticide use, particularly neonicotinoid pesticides, as this native bee is the first in the continental U.S. to be formally proposed for endangered species listing. However, as bees are concerned, that was just the tip of the iceberg. So from this devil's witchcraft, these pesticides, the bees are dying off. While the plight of the bumblebee is finally getting the attention it deserves, other native bees are on a fast track to extinction and have already been declared endangered. On September 30th, for the first time ever, bees were put on the endangered species list. 7 species of Hawaiian yellow-faced bee in the genus Halaeus, once the most abundant insects on the tropical island, are now so scarce that they one of the state's least observed pollinators. What we saw was really alarming. The bees were doing a lot worse than we thought, said Cynthia King, an entomologist with Hawaii's Division of Forestry and Wildlife. The Xerxes Society, a non-profit group dedicated to protecting invertebrates and their inhabitants, submitted a petition in 2010 to protect the 7 yellow-faced bee species so named for a golden mark between the male's eyes. These tiny, beautiful creatures are critically important to the pollination of native flowering plants and the unique island ecosystem of Hawaii. Over millions of years, the bees and certain flowers have evolved specialized plant pollinator interactions where both organisms derive benefits. If the bees disappear, certain flowering plants can disappear too, and this has a domino effect in the ecosystem. So that's all I'm going to get on this article, but you get the point of the article. Because of the pesticides that this devil uses, the bees are dying out. And like they said, it causes a domino effect in the ecosystem. These bees are real instrumental in these plants being pollinated, and it keeps the vegetation and different plants going. So without these bees, these plants won't get to grow, and that'll cause a big problem in the food that we get. It'll cause a big problem in the food. It'll cause a big problem in the ecosystem. But these are just things that happens under the watch of this devil. Now I'm going to jump into a couple of these scriptures real quick. Just to show the point and go into how we know that this guy is the devil. It's the book of Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where who is he? So by this we see that the earth is given into his hands. So he is the one that is defiling this earth. It's given into the hands of the wicked. Who is in control of the earth? The so-called white man. So he therefore is the wicked. It's process of elimination. And signs like this, getting rid of whole species, is signs of being wicked. We're going to jump right into the next one. We're going to go into Isaiah. And we're going to jump down to this is Isaiah 14:5. The Lord hath broke the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers, who smote the people with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger and persecuted and none hindereth, the so-called white man. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us. So what that's saying, even the earth and the trees will rejoice when this devil goes down, because since thou hast laid down, no fella has come up against us. So that's a scripture letting you know right there, even the earth will rejoice when this damn wicked ass man go down for things that he does, like getting rid of the trees and getting rid of different species with his witchcraft and his poisons. So let's jump to one more. I'm trying to just get through this quick as possible. I don't want to take up too much time. Let's see. This Isaiah 24:5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. Now, who is that talking about? The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. They have defiled the earth. They killing off the bees. They've killed off other species. They're killing off shit, and it's just amazing how the devil is revealed in the times right now. The scripture spoke about this thousands of years ago. But the earth is defiled. Once they get rid of the bees, a lot of these plants and vegetations will no longer be able to grow. We're going to jump to one more. We're going to go to Revelation. And we're going to go to we're going to go, let me see. We're going to go to let me see. Let's start at 8. This is Revelation 6:8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. That's your so-called white man. He is as death, and hell follows him. Everywhere he goes, he leads destruction in his path. He defiles the earth, and he defiles the inhabitants thereof. He kills the creatures, he kills the wildlife, he kills the landscape. He does it all. So we know who the so-called devil is. This is the so-called white man. And this article that I brought out is more signs that this devil has to go down. He is destroying the earth. So just pay attention and you will see. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.